You weren't watching on PrisonPlanet.tv. You saw smiley face after smiley face as they just rolled up their sleeves and they took the shot. That's right. Oh, it's okay. I'm going to be okay. Meanwhile, Mayo Clinic studies showed just 2 weeks ago that if you take the regular flu shot, you're actually 3 times more likely to get the flu. Sounds like a smart idea. Why don't I take a shot that's going to make me 3 times more likely to get sick? Great idea. It's the new freedom in America with a K, folks. It's the invisible empire at work, and I'm the Infowarrior. We'll be back after this. PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com. We're going to go to Scott, Fabian, and others, 866-582-9933 in a moment, but I want to thank one of my great sponsors right now, MySolarBackup.com. That's MySolarBackup.com, 877-327-0365. You want to get off the grid, you want an 1,800-watt power generator in case the power does go out. That emergency backup, MySolarBackup.com, is the way to go. They have bigger packages, smaller packages. You want to actually go green in the sense that they're portraying it. This is the first step to get yourself into actually off the grid. Wow, off the grid. Jesse Ventura's off the grid in Mexico. I hope to one day be off the grid myself with energy like this. It's MySolarBackup.com, 877-327-0365. Go check them out. All right, let's jump to Scott in Washington. Scott, you're on the line.
Yeah, Jason. What do you make of those so-called video, or not video, but audio recordings of Osama bin Laden?
I am so happy that you actually said that, because that was going to be one of my next points. There's another story out there today that Al-Qaeda has killed a British hostage in Mali. Did you see that?
I think I've heard something about that.
Well, it seems to me that it's awfully convenient that Al-Qaeda is back in the news with another innocent hostage who they've, unmercilessly killed because they're such tyrants, and this audio tape comes out. I think it's totally bogus. I think it's totally fake. He's talking about the Obama administration's policies. A lot of people aren't jumping on the bandwagon that this is definitely real. So, to me, this seems like, another CIA psyop to make us believe that the boogeyman still exists, and they couple that with the boogeyman's henchmen still existing and more dangerous than ever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and isn't it very funny, if you believe in the official boogeyman story, about how it is that they can manage to always find either these videotapes or these audio tapes, but they can never seem to find the man himself.
Yeah, or the sources.
Yeah.
And then when they do find the source, it's always, it's somebody with Al Jazeera. No, when they actually trace it, like they traced the Mumbai killer's cell phones, it led back to British and U.S. intelligence. Weird. I thank you for the call, my man. Let's go to Fabian in Alberta. Fabian, you're on the line.
Hey, man, I just want to recommend some documentaries, I guess.
Okay, go for it.
Have you ever heard of Battle in Seattle?
That's not a documentary. That's by the guys that did
it's actually a feature
GNN.TV. Yeah, it was a straight-to-DVD disc. I have it. I have not watched it yet. I know Woody Harrelson's in it. The dude from Outkast, Andre 3000, is in it. I've heard some good things. Does it really get into the fact that, this was an op, or is it kind of just about anarchists? I mean, I'm not sure. The things I find at GNN sometimes are pretty questionable to me. Why don't you give me your little, 1-minute review of the film?
I think it was great, actually. It showed the provocateurs. It showed how everybody there was pretty much banding together against globalization, and how the talks broke down inside it as well. So it's pretty good.
All right, well, I'll definitely check that out then. So you're saying that it's not limited hangout, and it makes a lot of good points, huh?
Yeah, really. Yeah, really good. Also, a documentary, actually, that's called What the Bleep Do We Know?
Oh, I've seen that several times, actually. That talks...
Great.
Oh, yeah, of course I've seen that. And it has that deaf actress that's been in a lot of the movies back in the 90s. She's the main protagonist in it. And it really just gets into quantum physics. And it actually kind of gets into the law of attraction, too, and which is kind of reiterated even further in The Secret. And it has a lot of interesting things in it. Really about creating your own reality, and showing how much power you do have as an individual, whether you know it or not.
Yeah, right on. So that's my 2 cents there.
All right, Fabian, I thank you for the call. Let's go to Mike in... Oh, no, Mike already dropped. John in West Virginia. John, you're on the line.
Hey, I love you guys. I wanted to ask you a question. Other than any kind of bank, I want to refinance my house before it balloons. because I didn't understand anything about that when I first got my house. And it's going to be like another year and a half, and I want to refinance because it's a good time supposedly, but I don't know who's safe to do it with.
Geez, who do you refinance your home with? You know, I would stay away from the bigger companies like Bank of America. I would try to go local, sir. Local banks, not the majority of them, but some of them that have made the wise investments look like they're going to stay in business. Right now, I couldn't even tell you who to go to and who to trust with all this talk of, well, the Federal Reserve might have to take care of business. We might have to just disband the SEC altogether, and we'll give them more power. Meanwhile, Bank of America, who, by the way, I have an account with, I'm not proud of it, but I do have a Bank of America account, they seem to be doing the worst out of everything, but they're too big to fail. I don't know whether that means, you know, jacked up rates for people like yourself, you know, higher banking expenses. It's bad enough I'm paying, you know, $4 or $5 sometimes when I use an ATM that's not a Bank of America ATM. I would suggest, you know, if you're looking into that stuff, go to Bob Chapman's theinternationalforecaster.com and check out what he has to say, because he's usually pretty much a financial dynamo, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to get through a few times to people, to you all, but it's hard. I've been through once with Alex, but I was talking about how do you get through to your friends, and they think you're nuts when you try to describe this situation to them.
Well, you know what? A lot of people are just too involved in the fact that the Lakers are about to take on the Orlando Magic in the finals, sir. And like I said, you can't force somebody to take a look at information. And if it's coming out of your mouth and only your mouth, it's a lot easier to dismiss. And people don't read. So what are your options? Well, television, YouTube, and movies seem to be the most effective. But how do you get somebody to sit down and watch one of these things? And I always suggest having the dinner party. You know, we had that caller in earlier who said, yeah, you know, I have these dinner parties, and then at the end I start showing loose change, and people's jaws are on the floor by the end of it. You know, have a poker party. You know, have the before you go to the bars with your friends and family party at your house. There are many ways to do it. It's tough at first, but I'm telling you, keep on keeping on.
All right, thank you.
You got it, John. See, we have to be human beings. I talk about this a lot. But if we're not going to fight for humanity, who is? Are we just going to go into this cyborg state of consciousness where we're all amalgamated into the machine, literally? The machine, literally. I mean, think about that. A worldwide mind, a chip in your brain, a cashless society control grid. Something out of Minority Report where they can read your thoughts. We're already at the point where your Xbox is going to act like these Minority Report devices where you put your hand out and everything's motion censored. Everything's motion censored. What happens to the point where they scan your iris and read your thoughts, and then all of a sudden the ad that you're looking at changes over to what they think you're susceptible to? It's all about consumerism. And we are wrapped up in that in a way unlike any culture before it. And we're not the only ones. Europeans are into it. I'm sure, you know, Australians, westernized countries all over are into the clothes they wear, into the phones they have, into the haircuts they rock. And that's what's important. It's important that other people accept me based on the things that I like, the music that I listen to, the sports team that I root for. It's tribalism. And on top of that, we've become so vain and so selfish and so apathetic that we don't have a broad scope. We used to have a broad scope where we could see into the future. We cared about what our neighbors did. We cared about how our society was. We cared about the education system. We cared whether there were jobs or not in this country. And that's just over with. It's gone. It's over. When Walmart is one of the largest economies in the world, and even in this country, probably, I would say that there's no one bigger than Walmart. We reported, remember, cheering success, seeking more at Walmart annual. Remember, during this worldwide economic downturn, more frugal shoppers are in their stores. Investors are eager for more gains, and Walmart, under newly installed CEO Mike Duke, is focused on delivering them by expanding its global reach and implementing Project Impact to improve sales in the U.S. stores. The fact is, all over the stores, there are new brands, there are new shoppers coming into the stores. They are buying 40% more than regular shoppers, said Guilford Securities analyst Bernard Sosnick. But the question hounding the retailer amid its recent success is, can these gains last when the economy improves and shoppers once again choose to shop elsewhere? The battle among retailers is to get footsteps in the store, Sosnick said. I don't know what's going to happen 3 years after a recovery, but I know what's going to happen at its inception. Whoever's got the footsteps will benefit. So what is Project Impact? Walmart